Okay. Oh, hello. Yeah, something's happening. Yeah, this is us right here. Hmm. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Is that what? There we go. Great. Okay, I'm gonna turn my recording device off here then. All right, I would like to call to order the Millington Township Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on February 25th, 2025. Roll call. Pazansky. Here. Opperman. Not here. Bernard. Here. Hager. Missing. Burns.
Here.
All right. May I have a volunteer to serve as secretary, since we are missing one? Would you like me to do it?
Sure, that would be great. You probably can read my handwriting.
So the minutes should list that Hager is absent and excused, and Opperman is absent and excused. Seating of alternates, we do not have any available today. Moving on to, are you ready? I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Pledge of Allegiance. So, all right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Approval of the meeting agenda. I will make a motion to approve, but amend to include a new item before A under new business for the Tri-County Aggregates Appeal Schedule. We're on number 5.
Approval of meeting minutes.
No, we're on approval of agenda.
Oh, okay. Approval of meeting agenda.
So just simply to amend, I'd like to amend to include our appeal schedule for Tri-County Aggregate, as we have received
Oh,
appeals.
okay. Where would you like to?
Prior to position A under new business.
Oh, okay. And I'll second that.
Okay. Motion to add, approve the meeting agenda amended to include Tri-County Aggregates under new business before position A. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Was there any discussion?
No.
Okay, thank you. I missed that piece. All right. Approval of the January 30th, 2025 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minute. Those are located under tab 3. Though I do have some suggestions for them. And it was mostly just capitalization. And then I believe George's, I was hoping he was going to be here, that the last name is Moore.
Oh, yeah, definitely could be.
At least that's the way I have it in my phone.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, the More. Yeah.
But I went through just capitalized, and then I made just a few references just in the event that somebody's rating these 10 years out. They included why Opperman was unable to participate.
Yeah.
listed ZA as zoning administrator,
Ah,
just to clarify. And then in defense, I changed the statements about. And everything else, I believe, has to do with names, but let me verify. Yeah, and then finally, just submitted by Nathan Pazanski, acting secretary, which that was requested from the secretary.
Yes, yeah,
And she reached out and notified me of that, which was a very good catch.
good point. Yeah, it looks good to me.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended.
I will second that.
Okay.
Third day.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Identify the Millington Township policy for public comments as stated up on the wall. Public comments. There is no public in the audience, so we can close out public comments. Old business, we do not have any. New business. Scheduling of the appeal from Tri-County Aggregates. So the Township Planning Commission at their last meeting had they made two decisions regarding Tri-County Aggregates. One was in regards to a reclamation plan, and the other was regarding a commercial use, a special land use permit. They approved both. At the last township board meeting, the board voted to appeal both decisions. So the township has submitted an appeal, two different appeals, one for each decision.
Okay.
Which this is similar to what they did
Yeah.
in the past, I think about a year ago. So I propose that we meet on March 27th at 6 p.m. I believe that's a Thursday. And of course, we'll reach out to others to make sure. But
I should be okay that day. I have chemo the week before, so should feel okay, maybe.
okay,
It's fine with me.
fine with you. Okay. And the reason for picking that date, it meets the 15 days notice that's required by law, publishing guidelines, so the day that we have to have it into the paper. And then I add 1 week as an opportunity to find out there was a publishing error. It gives us one chance to fix it before we have to change the meeting date. So that's what led to that date. So I'd like to make a motion to schedule the appeal meeting, it'll be 2 special meetings for the appeal on March 27th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
2 special meetings, one for
One for each.
each approved. Okay, they're appealing them separately.
Yes, because they're both, one falls under the quarry special land use permit, the site plan approval for that. And then the other falls under a different special land use permit that they approved.
Okay,
So
2 special meetings.
2 special meetings, and I know that might create a little extra work for us, but I figured it would be best for efficiency.
And it was submitted that way, the 2.
2 separate.
Yeah.
Yep. They voted for that at the board meeting. And then that's the way I received them. I just received them yesterday.
I know the order review is this next month, but should be done by the 27th. I'm sure. I think it's like the second week of March. Order review.
Okay. The township hall I know was available. So do you do it here?
Yeah, they do the border review here.
Okay, it's not scheduled at that time.
It should,
at least know that for.
I just know it's
because I verified the space was available.
saying they have a day on the 21st. I don't know, that date might be the 12th or 21st, but I'm sure you checked and it's fine.
And I'll call the rest of the board to make sure the date is okay. As chairman, I know I can just set a date, but of course, as you know, I want to reach out to everybody and get as much participation
Yeah.
as possible.
Was Emery and George supposed to be here today?
They were invited, yes. They're invited to every meeting.
Right. I'm surprised that they're not here. Okay. Can you repeat that motion, Robert? I'm so sorry.
Absolutely. Motion to schedule the appeals of the decisions relating to Tri-County aggregate will require 2 special meetings on March 27th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
I will second that motion.
Any discussion? All right,
No.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Next new item, bylaw and procedure review, discussion, and action. So we approved our bylaws over the summer. I can't remember the exact month. We've implemented them now. So as we were going through these items, I figured we might as well take a look and see if there's anything that needs to be changed. If we so choose to change, our role here tonight would be to make a proposal, and then it would be approved at the next meeting. Because
Okay.
within our bylaws, there's a 3-day notice for any proposal.
All right.
I do not have any within the bylaws themselves, but those are included in your packet. And tab 8.
For under C for attendance, so Emery and George are not excused for this absence for today.
Or are they required to be here for this, or they just can?
I'm just reading through it.
It's a really
Just
good
asking.
question.
That's a very good question. They haven't been seated as alternates, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. The ZBA member is absent from three. The ZBA member.
Because I think they're alternates, not members, or are they still?
Well, if we go under membership A, 5 members and 2 alternate members.
It says it right there.
Yeah,
They're alternate members, but they are members.
right.
It doesn't specify. Did they contact you and tell you that they weren't going to be here? Or?
No.
Okay.
Granted, I did send things out
Excused.
2 weeks prior instead of just 1. This requires me to do it 7 days in advance. I did it ahead of schedule.
Well,
I don't know if it could be amended, like you said, to maybe have either including the alternates or discluding.
That's a good question.
Like if that should be on there,
yeah. Well, I think they should.
just so it's clarified, like whether it's included or not.
I think they should be here, right? Probably should make it clear that they should be here for our regular scheduled meetings. Because for our trainings, I mean, they got to go to those.
So just to amend it, saying this includes alternates or something along those
I
lines.
don't know.
Maybe if a ZBA member or alternate, if a regular or alternate ZBA member.
Yeah. Yeah, the ZBA member, including alternate.
I don't know. We made sure that they are compensated even if they are
Mhm.
ready to go.
Right.
I don't think the MCL requires them to be here,
Right.
but the bylaws can.
Hmm. Wow, it seems like we really need them lately. I mean,
Mhm.
Hmm.
what do you think, Robert? What do you think we should do? I mean, should we be marking them absent and unexcused if they don't? I mean, if they would have said, "Hey, we're not going to be there,"
At this moment, I think you brought up a good question. So I would say no, shouldn't. But if we amended that, then we should,
Right.
since it is unclear.
yeah, I mean, I think we should amend it. I think we should amend it, especially, I mean, a regularly scheduled meeting. You know, what do you think?
Would you like to make a motion?
I don't know how I want to word it yet. If a ZBA member is absent from 3 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings without an excuse, that member shall be considered delinquent. In the event a member is considered delinquent, the township supervisor shall be informed by the ZBA secretary. Delinquency may be grounds for the township board to remove a ZBA member for non-performance of duty misconduct after holding a public hearing on the matter.
And we allowed the chair to determine whether it was excused or unexcused.
Right. We talked about this before, but maybe we did not. Well, I mean, if we're paying them and they're going to the trainings, I think they should go to the regularly scheduled meetings.
Or inform that they're not.
Uh,
Be
yeah,
treated
or
as the
inform.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I think that's quite fair.
A ZBA member, do we want to say a ZBA regular member or a ZBA member or alternate? If a ZBA member or alternate member is absent,
Or if a regular or alternate ZBA
Yeah. Either one.
member.
Or if a CBA member, including alternate.
Or including alternates.
Yeah.
Or alternate
if
members,
a
that way it's super clear.
ZBA member or alternate member, is that how we want to word it? If a ZBA member is absent, if a ZBA member or alternate member is absent?
I think that's reasonable.
Okay. Okay, I want to make a motion to amend the bylaws, section C under attendance, subsection A, if a ZBA member, I would like to amend it to if a ZBA member or alternate member is absent from 3 or more consecutive regular scheduled meetings without an excuse, that member shall be considered delinquent.
I second that.
The exact motion is to amend the section C under attendance, subsection A, to if a ZBA member is absent to if a ZBA member or alternate member. So that's the change we're going to make. Can you second that, Cassie?
Second that. Yeah.
Motion by Pazanski, seconded by Burns. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Make sure that we have. No, we're only going to be proposing the change.
okay. Don't we have to, we're just proposing it. We don't
Yeah,
have to
we're
vote
just, yep. Sorry, I was just going to look at what it required for the vote, but we have to take care of that at the next meeting.
Mhm.
So how about you amend that motion to be
Also.
proposal of the change?
on it. Okay. I will amend the motion to make it a proposal to change for the next meeting, right? To change the wording from if a ZBA member to if a ZBA member or alternate member.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any others? Seven days has been working out for everybody with the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You know, if they show up and they haven't been in meetings and they have no idea what's going on.
I completely understand.
And as you stated, it's sort of throughout. It's in there, including alternates. So I think that was a good.
Yes, we worked hard to make sure that they were
Yeah.
truly a part of this board.
Yeah. And like you said, it's been very active member. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did have something in there regarding having board members present. I can't remember if we required one or two. I think we just required one. Yes,
What?
that we had at least a board member, so chair, vice chair, or secretary.
Under membership?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It was somewhere in there, but I
To
guess
hold the
that's
meeting,
worth
you
looking
needed,
at.
yeah.
We must
Membership
have
under E.
a board member present.
One member of the ZBA may be a township board representative.
Oh, no.
To hold a meeting, you need one of the.
A chair, vice chair, or
Or the secretary, right.
correct. Where is that in? No, it was as we were looking at that nuance. I just want to make sure we had it dealt with.
It's on maybe G. A township CBA cannot conduct business unless a majority of the members of the board are present. That's what I mean.
Under just that.
The first one, B subsection G.
And that came right from the MCL.
Right.
And the guidance from the attorney on that was that we had to have three. So majority of the regular members was
Of the board.
correct. So
So
to
is
get
that
that
what you mean
number,
or not?
no,
That's not what you're
no.
talking about. Okay.
Maybe we did not put it in there. I could swear we did. In the event of the absence of all ZBA members, a meeting shall be postponed. Maybe that's where we did it and didn't speak it.
I would think it would be under H on page 11. In the event of absence of all ZBA members, a meeting shall be postponed. You think it would be something in there?
Which would just mean if nobody's here, we know that we must have a quorum.
The meeting of the ZBA may be canceled, postponed by actions of the chairperson or by actions of the vice chair and secretary.
Mhm. In order to conduct business or take official action, a quorum of 3 ZBA members shall be present. If the quorum is not present, no official action, except for adjournment, may take place.
Should it be amended there to say three three to be present, but then one must be a board
Would-
member?
But it would have to be. Maybe that's how we worked around it because there's only 2 alternates. Oh, I see. But that doesn't include board member because
Right,
we still have 2 that are not.
right. So I don't know if it should be amended there, if you want it in there. But three to hold a meeting, at least one of them needs to be a board member.
Wait a minute. I know where this is.
Oh, right here. It's under officers under D. The chairperson shall preside at all meetings, call special meetings, and establish an agenda for all meetings, as well as assume other such duties as requested by the ZBA or township board. Neither a township board member nor a planning commission member nor an alternate member may serve as chairperson. Is that what you're looking for?
Yep. That took care of it.
Okay.
And we followed MCL as well. Perfect.
Yes, and it says, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Okay. I am satisfied. No motion on that one.
Yeah, I almost feel like I should. I don't know, because there's really, the further I get and review all this, there's really no, they don't really differentiate between a member and an alternate. All of this,
Well, because we get into under so page 8 of the packet, but number 1 of the bylaws under H, this was direct out of MCL, which was an alternate member
Oh,
serving in the
okay.
ZBA is the same voting rights of a regular member. So
Mhm.
once they're seated,
Once
Right.
they're seated, it's
qualify.
the same.
Right.
Before that, it's,
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
yeah.
That does make sense. That's why we needed to add the alternate into there. Okay. Yes. Well, I don't see anything else. That's the only thing I see is just having them come to all the meetings.
I think that's quite fair.
page 6, Jay, I don't know if it's relevant, there's 2 commas beside.
Ah,
Page 6.
Yeah,
Oh,
the very
you're-
last one,
I
page
gotcha.
13, I guess, or page 6
Yep,
of the
yep,
thing,
yep,
yeah.
I gotcha.
Oh.
Removal from office?
so remove extra comma between.
Decent. Yes.
I'll make a motion on that one. Motion to propose an amendment to the bylaws under section J, and it's to remove the extra comma between malfeasance and misfeasance. In the statement, the township board may remove a ZBA member for malfeasance. Currently, it says comma, misfeasance, comma, or nonfeasance in office upon written charges and after a public hearing.
I second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right, motion carries. All right, so we will have those for our next meeting. That way the proposals will be out to all members with the 3-day notice. And then for approval, do that during the regular portion, the first portion of our next meeting.
Going on the 27th?
Yes.
Okay.
That should be our only real housekeeping issue,
Right.
other than approving these bylaws, or I'm sorry, meeting minutes.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to property owner notification for appeals.
Hmm.
So this, was questioned during the last planning commission. It was during our last special meeting, and then additionally through the last planning commission meeting, which I had attended it. They asked a question, so I responded as a public citizen on that we simply follow the public notice requirements. But the question was how the other areas know that a meeting is taking place. Additionally, so that was the response to that piece.
The other areas, what do you?
The township board or the planning commission,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
which we do have by Michigan statute, we do have planning commission member on this board. So that hopefully is the liaison. And then the township board, they do not, though we do follow the public notification. When I call a meeting, I make sure that it's up on our website, and then of course, for all the public notification items. The next item that came up though was the true property owner notification. And this was brought up during the appeal of the Opperman Clark short-term rental. The appeal was made by Smith Bovell against the planning commission decision. The only notification that the property owner received was the standard public hearing notification that everybody else does, because they're of course within the mailing zone since it's their property that's being appealed. But the question was relating to how to get them additional information. Not exactly sure what to say about that, other than maybe requesting that when the public notice goes out, that we include pointing to our website. They can point to the website or contact the administrative assistant, because that way they would be able to obtain a copy of the agenda.
Yeah.
It seemed reasonable just to add that. I certainly didn't see a reason to add that to bylaws, but just as an operating practice.
Yeah.
Definitely to at least have it on the bottom of where it addresses the website for further information.
Okay.
I think that's.
They all seem to show up.
Yeah, they know. They certainly get a letter.
Yeah, they know.
But their statement was, well, I got a letter that there's an appeal, but I don't know anything else. Granted, they have the option as everybody else to contact the office, but maybe just spelling that out to them may be of assistance. And that would be to anybody in the notification. I mean, that would just be part of the notice that goes out everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that's sufficient above and beyond.
Okay, so I won't make any motions with that one. Just wanted to bring it up to make sure that we were compliant. Once we get down to the website information one, I'll get a little more detailed in thought. Okay. Moving on to the appeal form fee listing. So that's under tab 7. And it was desired to have applicant is responsible for application fee of $241 and all publishing, printing, and mailing costs. That is not consistent with the ordinance. The ordinance should be pointing to a fee schedule. And when we were going through our bylaws, that was one of the items this board had mentioned to the township board. And the fee schedule, Jackie had pointed it out. She's got it right on her wall.
And it's different than this?
Yes, I believe the basic cost is a minimum of $250, but they open up an escrow and they wire, it sounds like $500.
Okay.
But those are established by the treasurer rather than us.
Where did this number come from?
It was on a previous
Oh, okay,
application.
gotcha. So you just.
So we
yeah,
rolled it over,
yeah.
and I certainly don't want it to give a false impression to any citizens that are making an appeal.
Absolutely.
So my thought is that we change it, and it says, and it would say applicant is responsible for application fee and all publishing, printing, mailing, and other costs per fee schedule. And then just drop it there so it pulls the money up, but it gives them the idea. And then my other thought was to make sure that that's published on our website, because I have not seen it. I guess it's the right answer for that one. I'm not whether it's there or not, but I haven't seen it.
Well, that would be good if that changed too. That changed periodically. You don't have a cemented number on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it will.
So let's see. So I would like to make a motion to propose modifying the Millington Township application for zoning a board of appeals hearing form. I know when you're caught up, that was a mouthful. Okay. To state, applicant is responsible for application fee and all publishing, comma, printing, comma, mailing, comma, and other costs per fee schedule.
And other costs per fee schedule. Yeah, that sounds good.
I'll second that.
Second. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Next, member compensation. What were your thoughts, sir?
Well, my thoughts were, since these meetings go so long, and in order to retain qualified, educated, interested ZBA people, we do, for every special meeting we do, we would seek that the township board allocate one, because every special meeting has its own fee, right? Like these two we're going to do, they're going to pay 2 fees.
Correct, yeah.
Well, those 2 fees, the whole purpose of the fee, right, is to pay for our time to be here. So I think if we're going to stack 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings, at a time, those meetings should be paid accordingly per meeting. If we just do one, we get paid for one. If we do 2 meetings, we should, get paid for 2 meetings. If we do 3, we should get paid for 3. Those are my thoughts.
Absolutely.
I think that that's a very fair solution, which would help encourage us to remain efficient with them instead of trying to schedule them on a bunch of different dates,
Right.
because that would be quite daunting for everybody involved as well.
And I think the last time the way it went, we had, what was the first one? The Sherry and the Morris.
Mhm.
STR.
Yep, and then we had the Opperman Clark.
Correct. So we had 2 special meetings.
Right. And I think we had 3 meetings that day.
We had a regular meeting. So that was kind of where my question comes from. How do we deal with that? So for example, our next meeting will operate like the last one. There will be a regular meeting portion by necessity, and then we break into the special meetings. So are you proposing that there's 2 or 3 meetings in that scenario?
I think 2, right? Because the special meetings are
The main
fees
purpose of
and
it,
paid,
sort of, yeah.
right? That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. And then if we just have a regular meeting like tonight, and that's just paid by.
Right.
Okay. Um, I think that that's a reasonable request, and for that, we don't set it,
Sure.
but what I will seek from this board is approval to go speak on our behalf to the township board. Say, here's what we recommend, and then they get to make that decision.
Correct, yeah.
Another component that I looked up when going down that path is the compensation or the stipend, is that in line with where it should be? And I truly have no idea. So I looked at the MTA, and they have an online MTA salary survey.
Oh, they do.
They do, but it's only available to township board members.
Oh,
So it
we
won't
can't
let me
get on
enter
there
my
and look at
login.
it?
Well, that's a good point to bring up, though. Like, please reference this.
Yep.
See accordingly. You have to assess that. Yeah.
So encourage them to look at the dollar amount based on that, and then recommend that they pay based on the number of meetings. So if there's 2 special meetings, there's 2 payments.
Right. I think so.
I think that that's quite fair because, yeah, those are very lengthy evenings, and per state statute, we have to conduct them as separate meetings. So I think that that's fair.
Yeah.
Right, because you'd be paid for they were separate nights. This is just condensing into one night, but it's 2 separate meetings. Yes, absolutely.
And ideally, this board should not be meeting like we have been.
Right.
We know that there's problems in the township that are leading to this. This should not be the case. We should be meeting once or twice a year,
Right.
and it shouldn't be a moot issue.
Right.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion, or would you like me to concoct it?
Yeah, could you?
Okay. Give me a second on that. So I'd like to make a motion, and the motion is for the chairman to speak to the township board about being paid per special meeting, and also to encourage the township board to review and consider the online MTA salary survey. We'll essentially have 2 different things to deliberate there, which are probably on variance.
MTA salary
Yeah, salary survey.
survey.
That's what they call it.
I will second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Right, motion carries. All right, I will get on that at the next or the following board meeting. I'll have to get the dates to make sure that I can be there to speak. Okay, website information. If you've looked at our website, you could see that it's lacking in many ways. So I propose that we have a page created for the ZBA. You can list out purpose, and then have it list out our meetings. Those have already been added to the township calendar. So if you go to their homepage right now, you can see that our meetings are coming up, even the one in, I think it's September, third quarter one. Though once they add any other meetings, such as township board, any special planning commission meetings, it's going to kind of get buried.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had our own page, I would recommend that we have the meeting, date, topic, and then a link to the public notice, the agenda, and then the minutes once they are formally approved. But that way, the whole historical record will be there for the community, and try to deal with any of the misinformation that might be spread. That way, it's all right before them.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Who would be doing it?
Great question.
That was gonna be my question.
I don't mind being the one to ask the um, township to do that. I don't know whether it would be done through the admin or if I need to make a formal request to the
That's
board.
whoever
I would be
keeps
willing
up
to do
the
that.
website, correct? Like
Mhm.
whoever.
I think they
Yes,
have a
which
company that,
they
Oh,
yeah they
okay,
have
the
it
third
out.
party?
yeah.
Yes, they have it
Oh.
outsourced, and then the admin is who I always go to. So whenever we publish a meeting, I make sure that it's listed there, just so we're compliant with you.
Hmm.
But this would just be a way to truly format it.
So I guess that would be a question to the board, whether they would allocate that being done, right? Why that?
Yeah. I think it would be good to have a ZBA section, on the website. I think that's a good idea.
Especially in regards, there's so many issues current.
Currently, yes. Hopefully, we will move beyond this point in our history. But yeah, currently, there's appeal after appeal.
I think it's only gonna get, I don't know, maybe, I don't say worse, but I think more frequent because a lot of people didn't know about appeals. I, I think there's a lot of people that have went to township meetings and had decisions on things close to their property or concerning their property, and then a decision was made, and then they left and they thought, well, it's done. That's all there is to it. A lot of people don't understand that there is an appeal, a ZBA, that you can, appeal anything, any decision made,
Yeah.
right? Zoning administrator, planning commission, zoning or township board can all be appealed.
Yes, they have to pay the fee, and of course, they need to have merit. But I mean, that's determined
Right.
during the meeting. So
I think an interesting one is if somebody were, I don't know if this has happened yet, but if somebody were served with like a blight complaint by the zoning administrator and they said you have 10 days to clean up this blight, a lot of people would just start cleaning it up, or they would not do anything or whatever. But now that this is getting so much attention, maybe they would say, well, wait a minute, I know I can appeal to the ZBA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be an example of a situation where they could just appeal.
and then we would have to follow the ordinance. But
Right.
as during our meetings, we can put public comment. I encourage them, when you make your comment, please read the ordinance and point to where you think that there's an issue to help us. I mean, if they see that there's a problem, I want us to know about it. So when we deliberate, we have something to go by other than just personal feeling, which
Yeah.
they also have every right to comment about, and they should. I mean, it's nice to get the pulse of the community, but it would be helpful if they knew the ordinance when they do so.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's going to get worse. I just think it may become more frequent as more, especially with the YouTube videos and big turnouts for meetings.
The community has learned to get engaged.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah,
had the
definitely.
necessity to get engaged, quite frankly.
Mhm.
Okay. So how about make a motion to create a web page for the ZBA to include meeting information.
On the town page, though, not on
Oh,
not its own web page, right?
yes. I'll clarify that in the end. Thank you for pointing that one out. Including public notice, agendas, and approved meeting minutes, as well as links to the appeal form,
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Fees, fee schedule, and ZBA purpose. That can be taken directly from the ordinance. Why have we been created? On the township website. Let's throw that last piece in there. That's an important one.
I'm gonna strike
I'll ask you to read it back because that was a mouthful.
create a web page for ZBA. Bernard makes a motion to create a web page for ZBA to include public notice, agenda, and appeal meeting minutes.
Approved meeting minutes.
Approved. My bad. Approved meeting minutes and links to the appeal form, fee schedule, and ZBA purpose on the township website. Makes a motion to create a website for ZBA.
Web page.
Web page. Okay, web page for ZBA to include. Yeah, I think that's good. The way it is. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay. So motion on the table.
A second.
Okay. Seconded. Any discussion?
I have some discussion.
Yeah.
And it's not about this motion. It is a little bit. When you go to say all in favor, couldn't you say all in favor signify by aye, and then we could say aye?
Yes.
Can we try that one time?
All in favor by signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right. I like that.
Thanks for getting me on track with Robert's rules. I have it in my
Exactly. You know what I mean? It flows better when you say all in favor signify by aye, and then everyone goes aye, and you say opposed. No one says anything. Motion carried.
Okay.
I like that. Well, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Notice public hearings. There are none. And then ZBA member comments, including any training updates.
Training updates. I don't have any member comments or training updates. I think it would be cool if everybody read Robert's Rules of Order. I think that's a good read.
I have a copy of it in my binder.
Yeah,
I just need to read it more often because you read it and then
I know.
you hit the application phase and go, oh, you blank out.
I know. I think it is intended for large assemblies, of members, where we have a small assembly with few members, but public,
Mhm.
So I think that would be, I don't want to say a requirement, but a good encouragement.
Good refresher.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. It's just how to keep order. And we don't follow it very well. I mean, small, 5 people, 7 people. So, yeah.
Very good.
And other than that, I don't have any comments.
Okay.
You have any comments now?
Okay.
Do you have any training updates?
We do have a solar workshop coming up.
Yes, it's right. It's here, isn't it?
Yes.
March 10th,
Thank you.
Waitram. 6
So
p.m.
it's at the same time as the normal planning commission meeting, so all are encouraged to attend. That's going to be reaching our world soon, especially with how the state had changed their
Yes.
laws.
Yes.
So okay. One other thing, I did have a member of the public reach out to me after our last meeting, and they made a comment, which there was also similar statements made during the planning commission and board meeting, just about appearance of quorum outside of meetings.
Oh.
So it was mentioned during the township board meeting to avoid that. And then during our recorded meeting, there was no accusation, but there could be a perception. When we muted during the recess, we did that. That's for standard recess. There were 2 of us sitting up here.
Yes.
And the concern was, could that be perceived as discussing the issue? So it was, in the event that you do that, split. So that was just a statement that was made. I don't see any action made, but I had received that phone call from a member of the
Hmm.
public.
What was the first one? Reception of a quorum before the meeting?
Outside of the meeting.
Outside of the meeting? What were there any examples of that, or
No.
they were just
Times being hung out after the meeting itself.
after the meeting?
Yep. So once a meeting is concluded, and that wasn't stated regarding us, but it was regarding other boards.
Hmm.
Like hanging out.
Even
physically
here.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was just reminded to avoid perception, which in a small town, of course, is quite challenging.
Hmm.
But
Everybody's
certainly.
always talking at the end of the meeting, you know.
Right, because we're all people and have things. Anyway.
But those have been stated. So
Yeah. Okay.
okay. So motion to adjourn. Wow, we made it through in just over an hour.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That is nice though. That's very.
Does. Oh.